Well, good morning. My name is Paul, one of your pastors at TLC. And for today's Devo during the Explore God series, and specifically about the topic of how do we know that God exists, Renee asked me to see if I could add a few more clues like the ones he provided last week in the Sunday and Saturday night sermons. If you recall, Renee talked about the clue of design. And in summary, it's essentially that things appear to be designed, and that points to a designer. Like things are so perfectly fine tuned to allow for life in our universe and on planet Earth that it just seems like somebody's behind it. Then he talked about health and how Christians tend to live longer, except for the ones that spend too much time at the potluck table. Not kidding. Thirdly, he talked about morality and how we just all know, like if someone cuts in front of you in line at the potluck table, you're bothered. You have an innate sense of right and wrong. And we ask, where does that come from? Could it just be random, or did somebody make that and build it into us? It would seem so. Then he talked about beauty. I mean, who doesn't look at a newborn baby or a sunset or a beautiful island beach and say, wow, it just seems to bring about awe in us that is otherworldly. And that again points to God. It's another clue. Well, two more clues that I've always relied on that encourage my faith are first the clue called the correspondence theory. What does that mean? It means that things exist and have something to correspond to them. For example, we get thirsty and water exists. It corresponds to our thirst. We get hungry. Food exists. We long for connection and relationship, and other people exist. I just think that the sense in us for God has a corresponding connection as well, that He exists, and that longing is something He built into us. And my final one is I've always thought that we talk about creation and a big bang. In fact, the Bible begins by talking about God's wonderful creation. Genesis 1:1 says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And then toward the beginning of the New Testament in the Gospel of John, John says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And it goes on to talk about how nothing that is made or created came into being without this Word. We take that to be Jesus. Um, had a part in making it. He was the creator, along with the Father and the Spirit. So the very Bible itself just bespeaks this wondrous creation that God has brought to us. And for me personally, when I get bombarded by the bad D's, as I call them, discouragement or doubting God's existence, and I do, or disappointment with God, and I have been disappointed with God, I just go out at night and I look up at His creation, the heavens that He made, and I look at it and I just go, they say a big bang made all this. Well, a big bang needs a big banger. And that sounds an awful lot like in the beginning, God, boom, created the heavens and the earth. And in that moment, I find that I'm encouraged, as again, these two clues for me correspondence and the wonders of this big bang creation. I find encouragement in that moment that God is there, that He exists. I hope that encourages you today, and I hope you have a wonderful day as you explore and look at God and His wonderful creation.